We order food afterwards.
Yeah, we order food afterwards. But hello and welcome, guys. Thanks for tuning in. First off, give us your suggestions on what this show name should be.
Apna Adda. Somebody gave the name Apna Adda.
So we've got quite a few suggestions, but do give us your suggestions, and we'll be happy to incorporate them. It's as casual as it gets, so thank you for that.
It's also as much your show as it is ours.
Yes, it is more your show than ours, frankly. So yes, market's doing fairly well. A reversal in tariffs. We spoke about this yesterday, by the way, that there will be volatility with regard to how markets, yes, that is expected, but with regard to how US policy will also shape up, there will be volatility there as well. And that's clearly playing out on markets today. It played out on US markets yesterday as well. When we were doing closing, at that time, US futures were down 1.5%. So a sharp reversal post that, of course.
Even the markets did the same thing, right? US markets.
Talk about US markets on
2% down it was at one point in time and then came back actually. So that's Trump mania, basically, simply at work.
But can you expect more of this going forward?
He's pushed it by a month, and I don't think it's gone. Means, of course, Mexico is saying I'm going to put 10,000 people on the border. I know all those things are there, but what was the purpose of the tariff? That I'm not getting the revenue. I want to generate revenue from what you are pushing into my country. That's what the thing was. And the tariffs were supposed to get in nearly $200 billion per year for US. Now, do you think that just because 10,000 people are standing on the border now, $200 billion will come? No. So the tariff will come. May not be 10%. Maybe the effective tariff rate will be 1% or 2% higher for the US.
But that's what we thought of yesterday also, that he will make more compromises. He didn't necessarily only want the $200 billion. As long as he gets vindicated to say that a wall may not be necessary, it saves me money. And therefore, is that an offset?
I don't think he's going to sell him $200 billion.
Yeah, but basically he's willing to sit on the negotiating table and negotiate. And as Niraj Shah correctly put it today morning, he's using the carrot and stick approach. The stick first and thereafter the carrot.
Yeah, but he hasn't moved the tariff for China. Huh? He's saying that we will hold more talks with China, but I'm going ahead with what I've proposed 10% tariff on China. That is much more.
Because China has not come on the negotiating table as yet, right?
They're on holiday.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think that kisko pata hai what Donald Trump is thinking. China, no point pontificating.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. But China did give in with regard to currency at least. They said that we will not devalue the yuan.
When did they say that?
They didn't say that. They said we'll look at it.
I don't think China has another choice. China will devalue the yuan, the rupee will get devalued. No, but the broader point is between now and what Donald Trump does 1 month later. By the way, please send your questions. We'll try and take some of the questions as well. But between now and when Donald Trump does take the decision is the very crucial MPC. And I think what's playing out in today's market is the pre-MPC rally. Because banks, I was feeling very miserable because 2 दिन से मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि the best way to play this is via banks. And banks were not moving. Finally, in a normalized market, banks are showing the metal.
मैं आपको एक चीज बताऊं, आज ना सेंसेक्स का एक्सपायरी है. मेरा सेंस है, एंड मैंने लास्ट ट्यूसडे भी आपको बोला था ये कि ये जो ऊपर चढ़ा हुआ है ना 1% मार्केट, ये टुवर्ड्स द एंड इट विल लूज सम ऑफ द गेन्स.
हो सकता है.
तो ये उसी के चलते चल रहा है और कुछ नहीं है.
No, I still think
मतलब द यूफोरिया कि अरे मार्केट 1% चढ़ गया है, that is not reflecting in the volumes which I can see.
Which is fine. I agree, but I think ahead of the MPC decision, there is merit to be a bit more constructive. Also keep in mind that the market, after hitting those near 23,000 odd levels or slightly below, has shown an intention to bounce back, right? From a sell on every rally, this market until the MPC meeting, I think, has, because like it or not like it, whether there is a rate cut or whatever it is, fine, वो तो coffee decide करेगी, but there is a decision pending, and therefore we might see, we will see some bit of an uptick there. But my only caution, my belief completely, is that growth is a problem, and therefore this pre-MPC rally, whatever you call it, expiry led or otherwise, is only till then. Even if the markets were to rally and post the MPC decision were to rally a bit more, I think that caps it. You need to be careful that we are not out of the growth woods as yet.
We are not actually. Means the budget very clearly says that, right? I mean, that's why consumption-led 1 lakh crore has been given so that they spend.
But my question therefore is,
One of you need to check the
We've seen-
check the questions. Just keep that
no,
in mind.
there's nothing that's coming in. So, the key point here being that now what next? So, what do you look forward to? We're seeing a bit of a rally in markets. There's some bit of rate cut starting to get priced in. If the rate cut does not happen, or if the rate cut happens,
Yeah.
how much
I
of
would
that
say
rate cut is priced in?
Being
versus
contrarian here, I would say that now the chatter is also there that there may not be a rate cut. Maybe a week ago, I was the only one alone, but there are many more now who have joined and saying that RBI may do a wait and watch for one more cycle.
I was also on your team, sir, on that count.
Coffee दोनों साइड से पी रहा है. Simple as that.
नहीं. I'm very clear that rate cut नहीं होगा. I still am of the belief that rate cut नहीं होगा. I stand by that. और मेरे को कॉफी नहीं चाहिए. I don't have coffee, so I'm good.
ग्रीन टी देंगे तुमको.
So yeah, let's see. Friday we'll
But
get
how
to
much
know.
of that is built in, really?
I think there's some more upside to this thing for
If
the
a rate
rate
cut
cut,
were to
some other measures, etc. Let's face it, March is coming.
And if it wouldn't come, how disappointed?
Then
would
I
you
think
be?
there is then it's if it doesn't come, then it's a sell immediately.
Okay.
I would reckon, unless there are some
Interesting one.
unless there are some very exceptional measures done by the Reserve Bank of India. I do think, and I was saying this pre-budget as well, that the budget is not going to be a market mover. The MPC is going to be the market mover. It is a monetary policy led impact that we're seeing in India. It was the same case during COVID for a lot of other nations, wherein the governments couldn't do anything, the central banks did it. For the longest time from 2020 onwards. I think currently in India, it is the MPC-led decision which will move the markets for the short term.
See, the talk which is coming from the finance ministry is also that we have done a bit, you have to do your bit, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but look at the market. I feel that the kind of budget that was delivered and the announcement that has been coming, which is more growth stimulating thing, this market hasn't run up to give justice to that budget in this sense.
Why the budget was a non-event?
It became a non-event because market ने react नहीं किया.
नहीं, but क्यों event क्या था budget में?
मतलब आपके going into the budget, what was everyone asking? That consumption led कुछ करो.
हाँ.
हुआ.
हाँ.
क्या हुआ reaction?
But सामने capex में निकाल दिया है ना सजीत, please.
निकाला नहीं है अभी तक कुछ.
अरे बाबा, wait a minute. Sajid, okay, here's my question. We are in a fiscal consolidation period. If you are not expanding the fisc, and if you are giving 1 lakh crores, that 1 lakh crore is coming from somewhere. Whether it's capex or wherever else, it's coming from somewhere, no? तो वो तो expected है. So the budget was supposed to be a non-event. It's turned out to be a non-event.
capex से नहीं निकाला ना.
जहाँ से भी निकाला है.
capex से नहीं निकाला, सब्सिडी से निकाला या किसी और चीज से
जहीं से भी निकाला.
But my point is that कि वो it has gone into the growth as a focus basically, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, but no, I think Sajeet, from a market's perspective it hasn't, because from a market's perspective, if people were sitting on 18% growth or 17% growth, I think FY26 earnings will be downgraded further. So in effect, the budget has not really helped earnings growth. Consumption growth मिला के लोगों की notes देख लो after the budget, people have said that from 18% to 16%, I think these numbers will come down further. So therefore, in effect, earnings velocity goes down a little bit as opposed to go up. But this was a necessary thing to do. The consumer is ailing, this, that. Bhai, paisa do, because we've done capex for so many years. Now we're trying to do this or whatever it is. Help the consumer as well. Sorry, you have something?
First question coming up, and very, very closely correlated to what we're speaking about, and that's why I'm going to try to interject here. We have Gyanathan Shekhon. He's always a regular viewer and therefore taking his question first. Views on Relaxo. In light of the budget, we've spoken about so many names yesterday with regard to the budget. Relaxo हमने बात नहीं किया है, and I was just looking at the valuations of Relaxo. 1 year forward, it's looking at the same valuation, price to earnings, as it was during COVID low, 60 times. Is this the bottom for Relaxo?
Sorry, I don't have a firm view here. I haven't looked at the earnings.
I can look it from I can take it from a fundamental point of view.
Please.
The point is that this industry is facing a huge competition from imported footwears which is coming in, and that is a challenge for them from that fundamental point of view. Growth wise, it's as you say 60 times वो कर रहा है, वो 6 times देना चाहिए कि नहीं पता नहीं मुझे. मतलब कंजम्पशन में आता है पर आप हर रोज तो अपनी चप्पल नहीं बदलते, सिंपल एज दैट. तो प्रॉब्लम वहाँ पर है कि भाई इट्स लाइक page industries. At some point in time you had a huge valuation for page which is coming, now it's fallen off of that.
I think 60 also it's fallen off. So I don't have a firm view, but I do know that the valuations have actually come off for Relaxo. It used to be even more expensive.
Sharply 150 times
Exactly.
60
150 से 60 हो गया.
तो मतलब 1/3 हो गया ना price.
So it's already fallen on the valuation.
And maybe not 150 forward, 150 trailing is what I have in terms of data.
He bought
उसके
that
बाद
stock at, but point is that
no, he's not bought. He's just asking for an opinion. But it's fallen quite sharply. 900,000 रुपए था यार till last year.
और 1 year forward भी
500 रुपए पे trade हो रहा है. I was quite surprised to see the stock price.
Forward भी 60 times ही है ना. So
Yeah, exactly.
है अभी भी.
Sorry, no view. I haven't looked at the fundamentals. Haven't spoken to the management this quarter, so difficult to say really what the management commentary is also.
But let's do a thing. We'll do a little bit of reading on this, and we'll get you an answer, a viewpoint tomorrow.
Yeah, हम अपना
let's do that.
Or in fact, नहीं एक काम करते हैं. Sorry, so just one request. So, tune in at 2:00 for the closing show. Let's make it a point to ask one of the guests on Relaxo.
Sure, we'll do that. We'll do that also.
So log in at 2 p.m. on TV, and we'll try and ask that question.
We'll ask a question on Relaxo today for sure. So thank you for that. Good learning for us also. Next viewer, Jeevan Gowda. He's asking why is consumption like Swiggy and Zomato going down?
अभी हम बात ही कर रहे थे इसके बारे में कि consumption. This market hasn't rewarded the consumption players like we would have liked to see. Maybe 2 साल पहले अगर ऐसा कुछ होता तो the stocks would have rallied like anything. Right?
Yeah, but also, I mean, these stocks have actually fallen before the budget as well on the weight of valuations, right? They were expensive, and I think the other point, I would urge you viewers to see this interview that we did with Ridham Desai during Diwali.
Yes.
And maybe our producers can drop in that interview as well. Ridham's big call on Diwali day, or just 3-4 days before Diwali, was that this food delivery space and the quick commerce space is seeing the entry of 3-4 large houses, potential entry, in addition to the 3 existing players, right, who are already burning cash. And if these guys with deep pockets also come in, I'm not saying that they will disrupt Zomato or a Swiggy or a Zepto, but they will make them burn cash for a lot longer, is the belief. Or is a sufficient hypothesis that you can keep. You may go wrong, but right now the market at 300 for a Zomato or whatever, stuff like that, would have felt कि भाई अगर ऐसा है, why go out and pay top dollar? Let's wait, and I think that's turned out to be true. So under the weight of valuations and competition, that's the simple answer.
And the commentary, sir. The commentary also suggests कि 2 साल के लिए हम burn करते रहेंगे.
नहीं, वो नहीं.
Margins have come off.
Bigger problem is that earlier they thought that their EBITDA may be 4 to 6 quarters ahead, right? In that sense, because we will do a gradual investment. Now both Swiggy and Zomato are saying कि मैं अगले 3 क्वार्टर में डालूंगा, फ्रंट लोड करूंगा और उसके लॉसेस इमीडिएटली लूंगा, and then maybe from the 4th quarter I may start giving you EBITDA break even on a store level, dark store level. That's an expectation. But as Niraj pointed out, there are 3 big major houses who are going to come in, and they are going to put pressure on your business metrics. Simple as that. कि आप 3 क्वार्टर में तो डाल ही रहे हो और 3 क्वार्टर के बाद भी डालोगे, तो ये जो एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि भाई प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी आएगी वो नहीं आने वाली है जब तक ये दोनों कंपनीज, और आगे जाकर जेप्टो भी आएगा कभी ना कभी आईपीओ में, कैश फ्लोज पॉजिटिव नहीं दिखाते. इन्वेस्टर्स शुड बी वेरी ऑफ इट. आई वुड से वेरी क्लियरली कि आप एफएमसीजी सर्विसेज बिजनेस में हैं तो यू हैव टू शो कैश फ्लोज from operations. If you can't show cash flows from operations and you're going to only burn, तो then at some point investors भी बोलेंगे भाई नहीं अब तू खुद मैनेज करो.
But cash भी काफी they're sitting on large cash piles.
Yeah, but they'll have to burn it.
Burn करना पड़ेगा.
But maybe not all of it.
Of course not.
And therefore we'll have to see.
But फिलहाल competition है. Hypothesis
is कि how fast and how longer you can hold.
Yes.
Yeah. अच्छा, now I have a very quick question, Hersh. Bank Nifty, I've been bullish, right? Bullish in the sense I'm not a recommending person, but the screen was telling you that ahead of the MPC banks are ready to move up. Valuations are not demanding as yet, right? Or are they demanding?
They're not.
So therefore, if banks were to move up, Hersh, it is not that an expensive pocket is moving up. The investors will not be uncomfortable, right?
No.
Okay. What amongst the banks sits pretty on the valuation side?
I think in terms of a re-rating now, in terms of valuations, we've seen 2-3 cycles over the last 2-3 years. First, it was loan growth, which was being rewarded. If you clocked a 20% loan growth, suddenly you saw stock prices spiking. Whether your margins were getting diluted or not, street was ignoring. Thereafter, the mood shifted to margins. If the margins were being held on to during the rate cut cycle, you were seeing stocks spiking. After that, it was deposit growth for a couple of quarters. Sorry, I'm just breaking this down and giving you my view. After that, it was deposit growth. Any decent deposit growth you were clocking, regardless of loan growth, regardless of margins. अच्छा deposit दिखा रहे थे, automatically stocks were spiking. Now it is going to be asset quality. And you are seeing that. As long as a company is showing decent asset quality, regardless of growth, if an ICICI shows 14% growth versus 17% a year ago, people are now fine. They are okay. As long as
zero.
Credit cost is
Close to zero.
So my sense is that's where the focus is going to shift towards.
So which are the names which are shown as good asset quality?
So asset quality, largely the higher, the larger private sector banks, excluding an IndusInd, excluding an Axis.
They've all shown good quality.
So the top 3 banks, Kotak, HDFC, ICICI. These are the 3 which have outperformed with regard to asset quality.
What about the mid-sized banks? Anybody?
The mid-sized banks have faced issues for sure.
Anything top of the mind?
I can't think of any mid-sized banks.
Okay.
Maybe Federal to a certain extent has shown that, but also Federal, the growth is zero. And therefore, there's that little bit of barter even in the minds of people that अरे यार zero growth बता रहा है, management change है, वो clarity नहीं आ रहा है कि भाई क्या चल रहा है.
मुझे एक चीज बताओ, 3 दिन से मैं नोटिस कर रहा हूँ डेटा में एक्चुअली बजाज फाइनेंस.
Boss, I have strong views here, by the way.
I know you're bullish on Bajaj Finance.
No, I'm not saying I'm bullish or bearish.
I'm trying to give you some data points, in the sense, I've been looking at that daily turnover, traded turnover. I'm looking at the daily stock delivery, high delivery which is happening there. The stock is on the move on it. Of course, people think कि अभी पैसा हाथ में आया तो लोग सब जाके अभी टीवी खरीदेंगे और पर्सनल लोन बढ़ेगा. That's one of the things. But the fact is institutional buying हो रहा है इसमें. Institutional buying went down in Bajaj Finance and is coming back in Bajaj Finance, and that's getting reflected in the price. But if you have a fundamental view, you should share.
So I have a. By the way, you should look at the questions also. Just keep in mind. But very quickly, Hersh, you understand this. You look at this more closely. But my simple, market में पैसा हर बार है ना सिर्फ नंबर से नहीं बनता है. कभी-कभी वो डायरेक्शन से बन जाता है, right? Quarter 2 end, positive commentary to my mind from them about the outlook. Quarter 3 delivery strong. Outlook FY26 looking very strong. Asset quality under control. A big portion out there open by virtue of the Airtel thing that you were talking about. Stock has not done anything for the last 3.5 years. A valuation multiple which used to be 9, 10 derated to maybe 4, 5 or whatever it may be right now. The writing was on the wall. If you were lucky enough and some smart money was lucky enough or smart enough to buy it at 6,200, 6,300 at the end of quarter 2 numbers when people got disappointed, or quarter 1, whatever. Look at the gains. 30-35% gains bane hai in a safe blue chip financial name. The writing was on the wall.
And in the last 4 or 5 days, a large chunk of FI money has also gone into Bajaj Finance. Means I'm looking on purely on the basis of the data which has come in, because the institutional data, हमको stock delivery data मिलता है at the end of the day. So, by the way, guys, if you want to see how the delivery is happening institutional है कि नहीं, go to NSE website and they give you real time or 15 minutes delayed delivery data, which gives you a good idea of how the stocks are moving and what kind of institutional participation.
Interesting. Okay. Now, before I ask you about IT, one quick question, Hersh, on the mid-sized NBFCs. We spoke about this 2 days ago as well.
I just want to tease Bajaj Finance once. I want to tell viewers that we had dissected Bajaj Finance in a big fashion after the numbers. We had said what will lead to the 25 to 27% growth clip that they are guiding for. They're guiding for 23 to 24% PAT growth. Can they do it? And we had also spoken about how they will do it by growing customer base from current 10 crore to 20 crore. So go back to that, maybe have a look at it. We've analyzed it fundamentally in a big fashion. Currently it trades at around, if I am able to put a number, 6.5 times price to book.
FY26.
Current price to book. Current
So
price to
FY26
book.
कितना हो जाएगा? 5.5.
5.5 होगा.
नहीं
25% growth
5.5
हाँ.
नहीं होगा. 5.5 नहीं होगा. It will be around 6. Around 6. Around 6 times. 1600 I'm taking as the price to book roughly. 200 250 will be the EPS roughly.
Is this the return of some of the blue chip names
Yeah.
which are trading at good valuations and have shown growth pre 2020 and have not done anything for the last 4 years? Good. So therefore, I'm just wondering if Asian Paints, for example, if beaten out of shape, can that make a comeback? Titan make a comeback? Very interesting. But before we talk about IT, Hersh, very quickly, mid-size NBFCs, mein anything that is standing out in results? We spoke about it the other day, but
So-
just quick refresh.
So rather than mid-size, the smaller ones, again, NBFCs we spoke about yesterday. Ones which
We
are
did,
standing out in
huh?
terms of asset quality, a mass financial, we spoke about it.
Oh, we spoke,
Grow,
yeah.
Capri Global.
Yeah.
These are names which come straight to mind, a 5-star finance, where you're not seeing asset quality issues at all. Possibly a large part of their book is also secured, and therefore they're standing out in this cycle because credit costs are muted, and some of them have taken a beating because the larger market has taken a beating, and no other reason why. And we spoke about this yesterday.
So okay, I forgot we spoke about it yesterday. Now,
Yes.
Hersh, maybe there are questions I don't know, but
Yeah.
Sajeet, very quickly, 30-second answer. IT.
Yeah,
2-3 दिन से अच्छा कर रहा है
दो
index.
दिन का अच्छा कर रहा है पर that's primarily because of the commentary which is coming from the US banks which is there, right? Means the earnings आ रहे हैं वहाँ पर और and they show talking about growth. The only thing which I see is that if Trump tariff comes in, the growth which is around 2.3, 2.5 for the US economy can come down to 1.8%. That's what the consensus is building towards because of the inflationary pressure which is going to come in. At that point in time, will this demand, which may come in because banks are reviving, banks are doing well, so the spending may be opening up for now, may happen or not open. So consistency of जो क्या कहते हैं दूर तक हम देख सकते हैं ना, वो रनवे नहीं दिख रहा है अभी रनवे में हर 5 मील के बाद एक ट्रम्प दिख रहा है कहीं पर.
Okay.
So that is the only thing. Otherwise it looks like the commentary of IT companies have been very positive. Q4 is not going to be. I mean, if you're going by Q4 में मत जाना.
But valuations, last question.
Valuation
in line with 5-year averages. And therefore, would you want to wait for a recovery or would you go in? I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's a question like there is on the ground there's uptick in demand and performance of your key clients, which basically means that by the end of March, your IT budgets are going to come out, and then you will have a good runway of the order book, which we call it total contract value or TCV हम कहते हैं जो, right?
Yeah.
वो आ रहा है.
Rarely do I see Sajeet sir get bullish on
But मैं एक बात बताऊँ genuinely just before I don't know if there is a question or whatever, but मैं एक बात बताऊँ today Premier and Energies or whatever जिसका reaction है ना,
Wow.
it shows you that now the market is very cautious and the market will reward growth. If that growth is accompanied with quality, the market will reward that, and therefore preempting some bit of growth in banks, and that's why maybe Bajaj Finance has moved up, or some of the IT names may not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because the market is now no longer willing to reward companies जिसके सिर्फ इस क्वार्टर के numbers अच्छे हैं. AKA Premier Energies और AKA some other stocks.
मुझे आगे का बताओ अभी.
आगे का बताओ, certainty दो.
देखो अगले 4-5 क्वार्टर का अगर मुझे आप विजिबिलिटी दे सकते हो, I'm willing to take that bet.
Yeah, by the way, not all expensive is bad. By the way, there's a new listing, KRN Heat Exchangers, 4 महीने पहले list हुआ. It's hitting life highs today.
Yes.
And it's a very expensive stock based on FY25 earnings. Just that capacity आ रहा है तो it becomes cheap, and they are guiding to earnings growth. But Hersh, anything else?
Yes. So Vigeen Dharan, you are asking if markets will fall if there is no rate cut from the MPC. Niraj sir has already answered that.
I would believe yes.
It will. Now I'm moving on quickly. Pawan Vanukuri, sorry if I'm getting that name wrong. Well, he's saying that is the narrative and talking about growth, and that's why this links up very well to growth. Narrative for semiconductor manufacturing now coming to reality, or has it been overdone? You've seen the likes of a Keynes Tech fall 35% from the peak. You have others as well falling. View on industry as well as stock, both on the EMS play as well. I'd be curious to know, because EMS also has fallen.
See, I would say
quite
that
sharply.
EMS is a totally different ball game. Low margin business. Semiconductor will be a very high margin business, in my understanding. But वो भी 3 साल का play है actually. It's not going to happen now. Dixon is talking about it, right? Kane but you have bigger players like Tata Electronics and others who are setting up high scale fabrication for semiconductor, which is there. It's going to take at least 2 to 3 years for that maturity to come in. And frankly, you've been talking to Dixon. Do they have that capability to go into semiconductor business as a whole? Means I know it's a fancy business to go in, but do you have the internal bandwidth to go into that kind of business?
See, I think these guys do, and they might do certain facets of the semiconductor manufacturing or supply as opposed to other thing. The only thing that I would caution people is that अगर आप EMS industry की growth देखोगे ना, so when Dixon started off, others started off, every company which has become large right now was small 5 years back. There were no large competition. In the case of semiconductors, what you just mentioned, there are large behemoths setting up plants. So it's going to be a competitive space because everybody wants that. More importantly, there's a lot of certainty in EMS because of PLI schemes, etc. यहाँ पे technology is shifting, demand trends are shifting. It's very difficult to ascertain right now. I don't think any either of us or maybe even companies will be able to give you a certainty कि ये ऐसे ही होगा 3 साल में. It's just too fast moving a technology.
Fast moving, and it requires a very high capital intensity.
And there are large players in this. So be careful.
Plus you need to have,
it's a very different structure than EMS.
Yes, plus you need to have that kind of bandwidth within the country in terms of skill set to manage that kind of operation.
वो शायद आ भी जाए, but expensive है. टाटा तो लेके आएगा.
टाटा लेके बाहर से लेकर आएगा.
लेके आएगा, but है उसके पास.
बाकी लोग लेंगे. हमने ये देखा ना, न्यू एनर्जी में देखा है कि कितना every company wanted to do new energy, but new energy is not everyone's cup of tea. You have to get that talent in to set it up and everything. So that is something. Reliance क्यों slow है? Because talent issue है, execution issue आ रहा है उनको. It's a new field to go in. It's not a
it's not an easy runway.
Runway for each of them, because every 6 months or 8 months you see the technology changing, and then अब क्या करें, same chemistry में करें या दूसरे chemistry में करें. All those things, all those issues are going to come in. Fabrication में भी ऐसे ही आने वाला है, semiconductor fabrication में.
It's not easy.
Okay, sorry, we need to wrap. By the way, do drop.
Why you don't drink coffee? People want to ask you.
I will tell you all that. But first off, most importantly, give us show name suggestions. Will always be good to take perspective on what name should you keep for our show. Now that we are formalizing this. Second, why don't I have coffee? To some extent for health reasons. Also, I love chocolate.
Black belt karate player.
अरे ये वो सब
4th degree.
Ignore that.
कौन सा degree है?
4th degree.
Ignore that.
And he teaches kids also karate. So I would like to.
Yes,
what are the classes called?
So I teach under the brand name of Rajesh Thakkar's Karate Academy. Rajesh Thakkar is my sensei. That's how.
Sensei means a teacher.
Teacher, yes.
Mentor.
Yeah.
So why blush? You have 4th degree black belt.
4th है 5 है क्या है वो?
4th degree black belt?
It's so I'm 5th.
5th degree black belt. पंगा मत लेना भाई, पेल देगा लड़का.
So let's ignore all that. Okay. Point being that please give us show name suggestions in the comments below, and we'd love to hear from you. So give us your suggestions.
Just one last point.
Yes,
having a coffee is not unhealthy. Just busting that myth. Various studies show that having a coffee might actually be healthy too. So depends. अब चीनी डालते हो, बहुत ज़्यादा दूध डालते हो, बात अलग है. But otherwise, black coffee is not known to be unhealthy. In fact, it's known to be healthy if had it in measured way. So just keep in mind.
So
I don't have it.
That research.
I don't have black coffee either per se, but it is supposed to be healthy.
And Niraj sir is healthier than me, by the way, food-wise. So
Wanting to be.
Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you all found some of the discussions productive, and it's a goodbye from all of us here today.
Until tomorrow.
Yes, until tomorrow. खाना मंगाना है सर, वरना आएगा नहीं टाइम पे.
मुझे लगता अभी नहीं आएगा.
नहीं आ जाएगा सर. मेरा सेटिंग है उसके साथ.
तो आप ही कर लो.
यार उसको बोला